What is up, everybody? Kika06 back with another test video with a Ryzen 7 8700G. A year ago, we did a test video for Roblox, which is what we're doing today, and I had a couple individuals specifically ask me for a City of Perris and an Evade, just to see if we can play it on here. So we're going to start with City of Perris, then we're going to go to Evade, but before we get into that, I want you guys to know that the links to everything in this test rig, as well as the link to my Discord, will be down below, in case you're curious as to what I'm running. At the end of the video, the final 6 minutes of this video is more of the informational side, where you're going to see all the settings and all the software that I had to get in order for this CPU to work correctly. So if that's what you care about, go ahead and skip to the last 6 minutes. That's where all that stuff is going to be. As for this game, we started with City of Perris. We are in 1080p, and we started with the highest settings. And we're already past the highest settings. Now we've gone into the lower settings. But those are the two settings we did here. We did the highest and then the lowest. And then the FPS is there in the top right. And then the settings is there in the right side in the middle. And then the name of the map that we are testing is there in the bottom right. So what I will say, when we switch over to Evade, which is in a couple of minutes, the overlay, neither overlay that I had, neither the AMD or the FPS monitor off of Steam, they did not work with Evade for some reason, and it's also windowed, so you're not actually going to get the information, but you're going to be able to see the gameplay. And the gameplay was ridiculously smooth. There was no hiccups, there was no lag, there was no input lag, there was no frame jump, screen tear, there was absolutely nothing wrong with it. And it felt like it was about 1 billion times better than even City of Perris. And I thought City of Perris moved fine too. So, absolutely no issues with that. And I had the settings on Evade as high as they would possibly go. But as for me talking, that is going to be it. I hope you enjoy the rest of the gameplay. If there's another game that you want to see played or tested on this Ryzen 7 8700G, feel free to put it in the chat below or hop in the Discord and let me know there. And if it's free, cheap, or if I have it already, I will put up a video as soon as I can just for you. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. What is up, guys? If you made it this far, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the videos. I hope you found them helpful. Over the past couple days, I have tested about 20 different games, and this is kind of the part where I just want to go over with you guys my settings and maybe go over an issue or two that I had. First off, this right here is called FPS Monitor. I got it off of Steam. I believe it was a couple bucks, but this is where I got all the information that was in, I think, all but one of the videos. And I think CS Counter-Strike 2, I think, did not take this. I don't remember. One of them didn't like it and it wouldn't work. But FPS Monitor on Steam, I think it was a couple bucks, but that is exactly what I used. As for this is the Adrenaline. This is the AMD Adrenaline app that you will need if you are going to get the CPU or any of the G series from Ryzen. So HyperRX is well known for it being the best for FPS. It has the Super Res that was on, Fluid Motion Frames 2 that was on, Anti-Lag and Boost. All of these were on. You can go to quality, and I think it's pretty comparable, but based on my research, HyperRX is definitely the one that you want to go to for performance, and you can get all these. You can have your own overlay. You can set it up here. I just didn't do that because I liked the way the other one was formatted a little bit better. Here's the system right now. I have 32 gig of RAM installed. There's the Ryzen 7 8700G as advertised. So right now it says there's only 24 gig of RAM, and I will tell you why right now. I went into the BIOS and changed the UMA frame buffer size to 8 gig, which means that I took 8 gig of the physical RAM and turned it into VRAM for the APU, so it would have more power. With 32 gig, that gave us plenty of room since most of the games today did not even get over 20 gig usage of RAM. So that gave us some extra FPS. So that's why I did it. I allocated 8 gig of RAM, and that's why right there. I had a question in my chat before that was asking me what version I was using of Windows. So there it is, Windows 11 Home. There's the version in the OS build. So the next thing that I wanted to show you was AMD Ryzen Master. This is where I go for basically the overclocking, really. So I set it on game mode, turned on Precision Boost Overdrive. On top of that, I came down to sock voltage. So the GPU sock voltage was, I set it to 1.275, and I will tell you exactly why. Once I got into the more demanding games like Halo and Warzone and Ark, the computer started just resetting on me, and it would just reset and go right back to the login screen. So I did a little bit of research on Reddit and YouTube, and I found one guy that said he had those same exact issues, and he said it was a voltage problem. So he raised it up to 1.275 volts, and it worked flawlessly, and it was stable, and he never had an issue again. I think, if I remember right, it was on like 1.15 or 1.175, something like that. So he didn't raise it a crazy amount, but over the past 7, I believe, the past 7 games that I tested, 0 issues and no issues, no criticals in the event viewer either. A couple other things in the BIOS, like I said, I allocated that VRAM. I made sure that the resize bar was enabled. I set the F clock to 2500 and the U clock was at 3000 because I used 6000 megahertz RAM. And XMP was on for this, by the way, in case you were curious. Let's see what else I have for you guys before we go out. So that FPS monitor app that I use, it showed the 1% and 0.1% lows. And I just want you to know that the first 20 to 30 seconds after I changed to a different graphical setting, it kind of resets that. So the first 20 to 30 seconds are not trustworthy. So if I switch over and you see, oh, it's only 5 FPS for a 1% low for 25 seconds. That's awful. It was not that bad, which is why it went from 5. In most cases, it went from that 5 FPS or 2 FPS all the way up to 30 or 40. It just had to reset, and it basically has to play catch up. One other thing I wanted you guys to understand, all of this testing was done on a 27-inch Asus TUF curved 1080p 165 hertz monitor. The frames were basically, the frames were uncapped if it was possible, and if possible, every single one of these games was done in full screen exclusive. And the last thing I wanted you guys to know is that all of the recording and all of the FPS monitoring software was done on the computer while playing the game. So I did go back and I played 5 to 10 of the games over again just to see the difference in the FPS without having to run OBS and FPS monitor. And it came down to about a 5 to 13 FPS differential when the OBS and FPS monitor were turned off. When the game was the only thing running, there was an increase of about 5 to 13 FPS on average. And I know that's kind of a very precise number, and that's just exactly what it was. So that is going to be it for me. If you have any other questions or if you want to see any other games, please feel free. Put them in the comments below and I will get to them. I plan on keeping this computer for a while. I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Don't be safe, don't do anything stupid, and I will catch you guys on the next video.